We're always told that to succeed, we have to be tough, like solid, unyielding, basically a rock. But what if the greatest power we have isn't about being hard at all? What if it's about being soft, adaptable, and it's been hiding in plain sight this entire time? It sounds almost too simple, right? But what if it's true? What if some ancient wisdom had it figured out and everything we really need to know about strength, about adaptability, and even about leadership could be learned from water? Let's dive in, starting with a concept that kind of flips our whole idea of power on its head. Okay, so this first idea is a bit of a paradox. It might make you rethink everything you thought you knew about being strong. It's this idea of finding absolutely incredible strength in what looks to everyone else like it's soft and weak. Just think about it for a second. On one side, you've got this massive, solid rock. It's all about pure force, being rigid, not budging. And on the other side, you have water. Water is patient, it's flexible, it adapts. Now, if you punch that rock, you're the one who gets hurt. But given enough time, that same soft water will carve a canyon right through it. It wins, not with a single act of force, but with this relentless, gentle persistence. There's this ancient saying that just nails it perfectly. Nothing in the world is softer than water, yet for attacking the hard, nothing can surpass it. I mean, just let that sink in. Real power isn't about being the hardest thing in the room. It's about being the most adaptable. It's knowing that softness can overcome any hard obstacle, not by fighting it head on, but through a steady, patient flow. So, okay, if being soft is our secret superpower, how do we actually use it in the real world? Well, that brings us to our next lesson from water, the art of flowing. This is all about how we handle the obstacles that life, inevitably throws in our way. Picture a stream just flowing along its path, and then, bam, it runs right into a massive mountain, a totally immovable object. Now, here's what's so cool about this. It's what the water doesn't do. It doesn't try to smash its way through the mountain. It doesn't waste all its energy in some pointless head-on battle. Nope. Instead, it just changes course. It finds the easiest path, and it just keeps on going. And here's the really important part. For the water, that mountain isn't a failure. It's not a roadblock. It's just a detour. It's simply a sign that it's time to find a new way forward. And this is absolutely crucial. This isn't about giving up, it's about being strategic. It's about being smarter. So instead of wasting all your energy fighting a battle you can't win, whether that's a brutal project at work or some career setback, you observe, you adapt, and you find a better path. This turns going with the flow from, a passive little phrase into a really powerful life strategy. So this whole idea of flowing, it doesn't just help us get around obstacles. It actually changes how we connect with other people. The very same wisdom applies to our relationships and our role in the world. It shows us the quiet, immense power of giving and nourishing others. Think about the best leader you've ever had. I'm willing to bet they weren't the loudest person in the room or the most controlling. They were probably the one who created the conditions for you to grow and succeed, right? Just like water, which gives life to every plant without asking for anything in return, the best leaders make things happen from behind the scenes. Their real victory is watching their team win. But, to be able to give and support others like that, you have to be able to receive things first. And that brings us to this beautiful idea of the empty cup. I mean, it makes sense, right? A cup that's already full can't take in anything new. Well, our minds are the exact same way. If we're just filled to the brim with our own ego and our own fixed ideas, there's just no room for growth. So, keeping our cup empty, it's really just a way of saying, stay humble, stay open, and always, always stay curious. Okay, so we've got this inner strength, we've got this way of flowing around obstacles, and we've got this connection to other people. But how does it all come together? Well, the final piece of this puzzle, the thing that ties everything together, is all about finding balance and harmony. This is such a simple but really profound image. Water doesn't insist on being a cube if you pour it into a round bowl. It just adapts. It perfectly becomes the container. And this is a huge metaphor for finding harmony with our circumstances instead of constantly fighting against them. Life is a constant dance between these two opposing forces. You can think of it as yang, that's the action, the work, the pushing forward, and yin, that's the rest, reflection, and being still. Now, the goal here isn't to just pick one and stick with it. That's a recipe for burnout. No, it's about finding a dynamic balance. Some weeks you might be all action, and that's totally fine. But real harmony comes from knowing when to pull back, when to rest, and when to let the other side take over. The wisdom is in flowing between these states as life demands. We've talked about some pretty big ideas, but the beauty of this whole philosophy is just how simple it is. The teacher we've been talking about, well, they're not on some faraway mountaintop. They're right here, all around us. So, when you put it all together, what does it really mean to live like water? Well, it's choosing to be flexible when the world tells you to be rigid. It's adapting to life's mountains instead of trying to smash right through them. It's about giving freely, like a river that nourishes a whole valley. It's keeping your mind open, keeping that cup empty. And ultimately, it's about finding that amazing, dynamic balance in everything you do. Maybe it all boils down to this one last piece of wisdom. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. What that means is the highest way of living is effortless. It doesn't have to strive or force things. It just is. And in the act of just being, it benefits everything around it. So this ancient teacher, it's always with us. The next time you see a river or feel the rain, or even just pour yourself a simple glass of water, take a second, take a quiet moment, and ask it, what lesson does this water hold for me right now?